back to Activated Women Global Show. My name is Dr. Nina and I'm better known as the Praying Prophetess. On this show we are here to talk about activating the lives of women globally. That's your unique voice, that's your purpose that God has given to you, your identity as we like to say. And one of the ways we are doing that is by having these sessions where we have different women sharing their life, sharing their journey on becoming an activated woman. So it is not to say when you discover that you're an activated woman or you discover your gifts that all of a sudden you are, but you aren't. In a sense, what am I saying? In other words, I'm on that process, on that journey, that walk, that path, and becoming an activated woman. So now I can say I'm an activated woman because I've been through, and follow all these steps and process. But have I arrived? No, I haven't, because there's still so much to learn and to grow in. So welcome to this new show. I hope that you're going to be blessed. I have my lovely guest here with me.
Veronica, hi. Veronica, my name is Veronica.
Veronica Lover. I'm always excited to have you with me. There's always something exciting and fresh that I can expect with you. And so I really love that. I love that you share from your heart. I love the beauty of your heart. I love the authentic way you capture what you want to say and you share it. It's not a case where you're like, I'm gonna hide my story. No, because you know that women and people learn from other people's story, your process. So that's why we're here today. And now if you're watching this show, this is our Christmas special. So Merry Christmas to you.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas from us here at the Activated Women Global Show. We love you guys so much and we are praying that you have a fabulous day. If you are like me, you're probably gonna eat too much. So let me not even encourage you not to eat too much. Enjoy the day. God bless you.
God bless you.
And by the way, I just want you to, as you watch this video, if it's a blessing to you, share it,
And share it.
that's right. So let's get into it. So Veronica, thank you so much as usual for accepting the invitation for
Thanks
being
for
here.
having me.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome. We are going to talk today about something that I know, including myself, was on this path, on this journey where I was so impatient with finding the one. Finding what?
The
one. And that was my journey. That was my struggle. That was my challenge. I would think that there's the one, but it was myself leading myself, not God.
Interesting.
So we're talking about the impatience with romance. So I want you. Are those tears already in your eyes? What is that? What is that?
No tears yet.
Yeah, she said yeah.
I promise not to cry in this section. It's Christmas.
Yeah, I know, right?
Happy tears. Yeah.
Yeah, happy tears, that's right. Because our journeys, it's amazing because I was recently having this conversation with the Lord and I said to him, you know what, Lord? I will not change anything. Before I used to say, I wish I didn't have that experience. I wish I didn't have to go through that. I wish I didn't have to encounter this. But I said, Lord, I am where I am because of those things.
Yes.
So if we have to cry, we cry.
Yes.
Crying is not weakness.
It's
Actually,
true.
crying is so beautiful.
It is.
And it is strength. You let it out.
And then you strengthen.
Then you say, Lord God, fire me up to go again.
Yep.
Awesome. So Veronica is going to share with us today her journey, her process, the way she is currently, taking us from before to now on becoming this woman who is now saying, I'm going to trust God with finding me, helping me to locate my special one, my husband. I'm going to trust God in that process, on that journey. So we could take us back to, do you think in your life that you have been impatient with finding the one?
I will say yes. I was very impatient because I actually was married before, and in that moment, I really thought that I had heard from God, and I really prayed about a husband, and how my husband and I met. I thought it was God, and I was told by many people, leaders, that I shouldn't marry to this person because that the person needed to grow more in Christ. But because I always wanted to get married as a little girl, like a princess, you play with your dolls, I always wanted to get married, and I always envisioned myself looking through magazines, turning out wedding dresses, pictures and stuff like that, and sticking them into different books. So I always had this picture in my mind and whatnot. And on when it came to meeting someone, like, I allow my emotions to get the better side of me, and it blinded me because I overlooked all the red flags. I overlooked all the spiritual side of it, and I took my own feelings and spiritualized it, and I blocked out my leader's thoughts on that, and I ended up in trouble. And when I got married, it was like a really nice day, but afterwards, when the trouble came, when it came to praying, the trouble was so much that it overwhelmed me as a Christian. It really shut me down, and I said to myself, did I really hear from God? Because I thought that I heard from God. I thought that God was going to come, and the person was going to church for me as well, and I thought that God was going to come and sanctify this person, and the person got saved, the person, they got baptized as well. But I thought that, you know, God was going to come and do a whole miracle stuff, and we were going to live happily ever after. But when the enemy came in, because the person wasn't fully saved, and not fully saved, the person wasn't delivered, then that real person came on, and the person did not know how to handle the relationship when trouble came, in terms of praying. So for me, afterwards, I said, okay, well, let me take some time for myself and just lock in there with God. And I was by myself for years, and I stood by myself for a very, very long time. And then I met someone, and I said, Lord, I remember praying, Lord, I want you to bless me with this person, and I give God, like, you know, what I wanted in a husband. And then someone came along, and that wasn't the person. And then I said, Lord, what is it? Like, what is it? And then I really thought, like, the staying years before a person was it, because I was saying, all right, maybe let me discipline myself and God will come and bring the person to me. But then when the person came, it wasn't about the time of spending long years with not having someone. It's when that person come, you discern and you know that this is who God said it is, and then that person wasn't it. So I've struggled in that area, and now I'm at a place where I'm saying, God, you know what I want. You know what, as you said, the person to cultivate you. I heard that the other day in a message you said, and you said your husband cultivated you, and I took away that, and I said, you know what, you know who's gonna cultivate me. And sometimes the persons who we think are not that person is actually that person, because we don't like what we see. We have this image in our head, and we don't know that God is saying, this is the discipline that I want you in. This is where I want you. So I am saying now, God, I do not know. I don't know how to choose, because every time I choose the wrong person, and it doesn't work out. And I like how my heart feels, and I don't want anyone to, I don't like how I feel when I go into a bad relationship. So I'm actually like guarding my heart and just trusting God that that person that is for me will show, and I will know that I know that that is it, because I do not want to make any more mistakes when it comes to relationships. I think I've made enough.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, being transparent with us. Many points I grasped from what you were sharing, as usual. I love that. We are helping you here. This is like a coaching session for somebody. And I like to draw points when a person is speaking. So you said, you have to trust God with your choosing. So that's point number one. You have to trust God with your choosing. And like many of us, including myself, we choose according to what we put in our head, or what social media show us, what we see, you know, this wonderful man with this nice woman, or this nice woman with this one, and you're like, I want my husband to look like that. We all have this kind of sort of image in our head, what we want our husband to look like. That's external. Now, that is fine, you can have that. But then you will clearly miss who God is sending to you. You will clearly miss that person that God is going to show you that this is your husband. Because, you know, you can find gems and a gem in brown paper bag.
Oh yeah.
But you must, the second point you made is that you must be able to discern.
Yes.
So you must discern the person that God has sent to you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that even on your journey, in waiting and trusting God for your spouse, that what would you say was one of the common mistakes that you made in waiting?
Trusting God, knowing that, okay, God is God all by himself,
Mm-hmm.
and he wants us to be faithful to him, not that person. So my thing would be giving myself to that person and giving into my feelings instead of saying, God, you in charge, not this person, because then the person will respect you more, because you're not being faithful to that person, you're being faithful to God, and God is the ultimate one, and when we're obedient to him, there the blessing is.
Yes.
So that's what I'm learning to do. Say, you are in charge, and I'm going to listen to you, and not my feelings,
Yes.
and not what that person might want.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the things that the Bible said is that he who finds a wife finds a good thing, obtains favor from the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
So he who finds a wife, so you must be a wife first.
Yes.
You must have those attributes, those qualities.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of times we as women, we think about the husband that we want,
Yeah.
but we don't think about ourselves.
Yeah.
Am I a wife? You should start. So,
Yes.
so number 3, ask
Yes.
yourself,
Yes.
am I a wife?
Yes. Yes.
Because a wife is what? The helpmate to the husband.
Yes. Yes.
And so the
yes.
husband is the leader. He's the one who cultivates, because
Yes,
it's like a
yes.
garden.
Yeah.
The husband gets this garden, you, me, her, and he cultivates that garden.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so even if, like, for example, you were sharing, I thought to myself, wow, can you imagine? My husband would have probably thrown me away when he first met me, because I definitely was not cultivated at that time. It was a beautiful garden waiting to exist.
Oh, yeah.
You see that? It was this amazing garden waiting to exist, waiting for that divine hands and that divine speaking and cultivation and that divine mentorship and that, you know, all that divine stuff that comes with the husband. I was waiting for that person to say, yes, I can see beauty here. Let's cultivate that area. Yes, I can see beauty there. Let's cultivate there. So when we're looking for a husband, you must ask yourself first, am I a wife? So that's point number 3. Am I a wife? Am I ready for that man that I'm saying to God, I need a husband? Because it's one thing to say, I need a husband, but you may lose that husband as quick as you get the husband.
Yes, yes.
If you are not a wife.
Yeah.
So you must be a wife first.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, because sometimes I remember I was in a relationship, and when I got into the relationship, I said, you know what? We asked for a husband, we asked for a wife, but are we ready? You know, you can't want a wife if you don't have a job. You can't want how are you going to provide? You can't want a husband if you don't know how to manage your money, or you don't know how to cook, or you don't know how to, like, take care of a home. You know, because a man is not going to want a wife who is not tidy or whatever. There's certain things that as soon as the man comes, he will run. So, you know, not because I have prepared myself for me, but when I sit down and study myself, I'm saying you are looking at what a person is not, and we want to, like, say, oh, you're not this, you're not that, but the person can look at you and say, well, you are not this and you're not that either. So when you look at it, you have to take a step back and say, am I really ready for a relationship?
Yes.
Am I really ready? We want marriage, but am I really ready? Because when the husband comes, then what? Are you ready?
That's
you know, are you one that is, like, real brawling and always ready to, like, have a showdown? Because that's not going to happen.
Yes.
Some people cannot handle that. Are your children disciplined? Because when they come and he say, oh, your house is not in order, I do not want to deal with these rebel children or whatever. Not saying that might are, but I'm just saying these are the different things that a lot of people have to look at when it comes to finding a good wife or a good husband.
That's a really excellent point, but I just want to put a slight disclaimer there, because the truth is that when you have a husband that's a cultivator, that husband can come into your life and see your house not in order. You, the woman, should have certain qualities, yes, but he can, because my husband met me with amazing qualities, but they were not, you know, to the standard as they are now. But he helped to cultivate those things out of me. He came and found my house needed to be ordered, and he helped to bring the house in order, because a cultivator will see what is waiting to exist. The cultivator will see beyond the natural and say, I can see this house is not totally in order. As you said, I can see these children not being as disciplined, but because I possess those qualities as a cultivator innately, I'm going to help this wife, I'm going to help her get her house in order. So I want to share that with you so that you don't throw with that good man if you think something we could throw with a good man and go and grab at one that isn't, you know. So I just wanted to put that disclaimer there. For you, on your journey with finding the one, I like to say it like that for some reason, the one, because it's always the one. The one is the one if, you know, because some people, but what if the one died? Where is the other one? So the one is the one. God has for you, that one, then God has another for you, then he's the one too. He becomes the one at that point. But on your journey in finding the one, finding that spouse that God has fashioned for you, even take me back to when you were married, as you said. And you mentioned something that was so important. You said the enemy came and your spouse could not handle, you know, the enemy's storm, in a sense. And you said it wasn't, but for me when you said that, the first thing that came to me is that perhaps he wasn't spiritually mature enough to handle those storms, because you said he got saved after.
He got saved before we got married and baptized. But one of the things...
But he was still a babe in Christ.
Yeah, he was a babe in Christ. Yes, he was.
Yes.
Yeah. But another thing too that I must say that I have learned, that I was taught by a friend, as I remember before I was married, a lady came to do a pastor came to do a women's seminar, a marriage seminar, her and her husband, a pastor and a wife. And she said to me, and she was a friend of mine, but she prophesied and she said, when you get married, you are going to have to spend a lot of time on your knees and not, And one of the things my husband said to me was that what hurt him was when he messed up, I talked about it instead of covering his sin in prayer and going to God. It could have worked, but I was so hurt, and so like I wanted my friends to know, you would not believe what he do. You would not believe what he did and what happened last night and who, but he, you know, instead of going and saying, well, look, God, this man that I have chosen, this is it, and you know, I know you love, and I love God to come in and seek our work, but I did a lot of, instead of praying, and then it's only later I remember the prophecy. I remember that I was told to go on my knees and not expose. And my husband said to me, what hurt was when I talked. And that's one of the things that I've learned for when I get into my
that's
other,
important.
It's very, very, very
well. Thank you for sharing that. That's really important, because a lot of times we can definitely use our mouth to do what, but we still life and death is where. That's right. So we can use our mouth to kill, because even though you said earlier, and there's some persons who might pray and God said this is the one. The one God telling you that is the one does not mean everything is perfect. Everything is going to be perfect immediately. That's why I said my husband probably would throw me away, because in the beginning, you know, we had to weather some storms together. I gave him a lot of trouble in the beginning, you know. I gave him a lot of trouble because, like you said, and most women can testify this, we have to submit yourself to that process of becoming, which is why we're here today. It's about becoming. It's about that impatience in finding the one. So a lot of times we can then make these mistakes in finding the one because we sometimes don't want to wait on God. So I would say point number 3 is that when you pray, you don't have to trust God. Because you can pray, but don't be praying and looking all over. Is this the one? Ooh, yeah, that's what I pray for, so that must be the one. I can tell you right now, when I prayed, when I got, like you said, fed up, I said, Lord, I'm choosing wrong, do it for me. I prayed and left that prayer with God. But there was one thing, so point number 4 is that you must ask God for specific things. This has nothing to do with the external. You can ask about the external, but for me, I'm telling you what worked for me. You must ask God. I prayed this one prayer. Lord God, I want you to partner. I want somebody I can partner with. Because that language is divine. God can now say, okay, you know speaking my language. I'm going to partner you with the person that I believe both of you would have something amazing. So God partnered us. Did not mean that it was perfect in the beginning. No. As a matter of fact, is it perfect? No. But we are two people that's allowing God to remove the imperfections out of us daily. But are we where we used to be? Definitely not. We are so much further along than where we used to be. But you must learn to, when God give you that spouse, and that's number 5, submit the relationship to God. You must submit the relationship to God. So what happened with you is that you were not submitting your relationship to God, you were submitting it to people. This person. And that is something that gets a man so annoyed. So annoyed. It's like, why are you telling people my business? And one of the things that we learn about marriage is that you share with nobody.
That's it.
Doesn't matter how close you and that person is. Nobody. You and God.
I learned that.
Everything that I needed to know to this day, I went to the Lord. Even I remember I used to go to the Lord and say, Lord, Father Lord, this is what's happening. And the Lord would say, oh yeah. And I'm like, why are you pointing the finger to me?
Oh yeah, I get that.
So that's why it's important to ask ourselves, are you the wife? Are you bringing to the table the qualities, the character that's needed for this relationship? You know, so if you need to build as well yourself, you must be willing to submit yourself. So that's point number 6. You must be willing to submit yourself to God. Then you 4 was submitting, 5 was submitting the relationship, and 6 is submitting yourself to God. Because if you submit yourself to God, God can see your willingness, your sacrifice, your obedience, and say, I'm going to use this to build you, to shape you into the wife that I know is there. Because it's all there. It's all there. So you clearly stated, as you heard, and I love for transparency, you allow other voices to come into the marriage. Because I remember when you met your spouse then, that you said it was divine. God had shown you this husband, this man, he was your spouse. So it doesn't mean just because it didn't work that God didn't show you. This is where we always say, like, oh, God didn't show me. But just because it didn't work, it's just that you at that time did not allow, you did not submit fully the marriage to God. And it's not about submit. If you have leaders that really know how to lead you, you can say, well, leaders, this is what's happening with me, and you should trust those as your people that you trust. However, outside of that border, friends will always be on your side unless the person really is truly anointed and really godly. But I always say, no, done with him, finish with him, he is not good.
People do. And then you tend to listen to the noise, and you just, that still little voice gets like overshadowed, and then you confused.
What do you think, though, would you say is your biggest challenge and struggle in terms of waiting on God to give you that husband, like currently?
What is my biggest challenge and struggle in terms of waiting? Right now, I don't have a big struggle and challenge right now, and I'm at peace. I was driving the other day and I said, Father Lord, no amount of money can pay for my peace and my joy, because I like where I'm at now. Just with you. Just waiting with you. I am not in no hurry to, if somebody's there, somebody's there. If they're not there, they're not there. I'm not anymore like trying to hold on to people anymore. And that was my problem, holding on to people. But I have learned to let it go. Let it go. If it's supposed to be, it will be. And not even turmoil, like being like having a turmoil inside of me. I'm at peace with it.
So no anxiety.
I've got no anxieties at all. And I've allowed God to come in and do that cleanup and bring that peace and to trust Him.
So you're allowing God to prepare you to be the wife.
Yes.
You give me my 8th point or 7th point, who's counting, and that is to have peace on your journey in waiting. You must have peace on your journey in waiting. That's one of the things that I did, because the enemy will always send the who? The fake.
They come to fake before the original.
He will always send the fake first. And that happened to me as well. I was at peace, waiting on God, just trusting God, and then about 2 of them came out the woodworks, and I was like,
I can discern it. Right now I can discern the distractions from, like, I can say, well, you know what, God will definitely send you. And even if it's a Christian, I can still see you're not ready yet still.
Well, tell us some of those things that you're able to now see. For those women out there are saying, well, I am trusting God, but yet there are some people knocking at my doors or my windows. What are some of those things that you can now see that are what we call red flags to know that this is not the one? Because if we're talking about finding, we still, because remember, this thing is universal. Some of us have the red flags are red flags.
I
And some of it is
have
the
a
same.
friend. I have a friend who, in terms of like, there are people around, but there's one friend who is there that it's not about them. It's about Veronica. They're always trying to say, Veronica, I don't think you should do that. I don't like being concerned with who Veronica is and trying to make Veronica into a better person. And it's not about they per se, their agenda, even if they have an agenda. But when I sit down and look at it, I sit down and say, well, you know what? It's not that they're pushing against me, like saying, well, I have to have you, I need you, I want you. It's about you, the person saying, Veronica, I would like you to fix that about you. I would like you to do that. Just do that and trust me, and you'll see how good it would be. Not for me, but for you. Even if it's not me, it's for you. And I like that, you know?
Okay, so again, what are some of the red flags that you can see in a person? That was good, thank you so much. But what are some of the red flags, as you said earlier, that you can tell this person's not the one?
When the person comes in, they're pushing their own agenda, and it's not even a kingdom agenda.
So give an example of your own agenda. You mean like sexual, knowing that we are
sexual, worldly. Because if you know that a person is waiting, you should not want to, like, you know, push that agenda. Okay. That's definitely not God's agenda. Yes. But also, really, sometimes the enemy comes subtly and make you think that that person is about God's agenda, but it's somewhere along in the spirit where God said that doesn't sit well with me. Yes. It's just a knowing that you know that that's not where you're at. Yeah. And if you can't talk about the things of God, well then that's not it anyway. Yes. You know, I don't know if that answers your question. Yes, in a bit.
Yes, you answered a bit. And if you have a person, you give me point number 8, I believe, is it? Point number 8 is when you meet that person, and for example, you're saying there, when we go to the point of the person not being the one, and you think they're the one because they're somehow speaking a particular language that's spiritual, that you're saying, yes, the person want to be in church with me, oh wow, amazing. Person, you know, the person is speaking, because remember, a person can now study what they want and go after it that way. As you said earlier, the counterfeit, that's right, the counterfeit will come first. Take it back to God. You don't have to now say and tell everybody, this is the one I found. Go back to God. Father Lord, this person is speaking a particular language, but is he from you? Yeah. Is he from you? Did you send him?
And ask God to expose the enemy, because remember, the wolf comes in nice clothing, nice sheep clothing. The sheep could look nice and fat and healthy, but then, and the sheep could be speaking the same language as you. But when you go and you go into your prayer corner and trust that God will expose, let a situation come up, and you see how that person acts in that situation.
That's number 9.
So then you will know.